Hey, this is Dave, Instructor Dave again. So I want to go over with you the three biggest NRA rules. There's actually a total of 12, but for beginners that are just starting out and for the purpose of this course, I really want you to focus on the top three because these are the most important rules and they're going to keep you the safest. And if you can learn these three, then you're going to be a safe gun owner and concealed carry holder. So these three rules, I really want you to drill it into your head. So the rule number one is always keep your gun pointed in a safe direction. So always means always. That's literally speaking. Always keep your gun pointed in a safe direction. So here's where I think people go astray. Sometimes they lay a gun out on the table or a bed. It's not pointing in a safe direction. Interior walls of your house are not safe directions. Usually an exterior wall is a better direction because they're typically made out of brick. So you always want to make sure your gun, whether you're touching it, holding it, or it's in your bag, is always pointing in a safe direction. So when you go to the range, first of all, when you carry it in, it should be unloaded. But then when you get to the range, you always want to kind of point your bag in the down range or in a safe direction. Keep the firearm pointed down, even though it's not in your hands. So always keep it pointed in a safe direction, literally speaking, whether it's in your hands or not. The rule number two is always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So a couple points where I see students go awry on that one. Number one, just because, again, it might be laying out on a table, and this is my training firearm, you don't want to be touching this trigger ever. So always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. When you're picking it up, you want to build this muscle memory of putting your finger along the rail every time until you're actually on the target, your sights are lined up, and you're ready to shoot. Then you can touch the trigger. But at that moment, in all other moments leading up to that point, you should never ever touch the trigger, even if it's just laying on the table, if it's in your gun bag. One dangerous thing, believe it or not, I've heard stories of people, taking their firearm and just sticking them in their pocket or in their waistband. Keep that trigger protected. Use a holster. Find a holster that works for you. So, I can't accidentally touch this trigger if I'm wearing a holster, but if I put it in my pocket without the holster, I could accidentally reach in there and grab the trigger and shoot myself. There's plenty of news stories. You could read about that. Do your research on that. You'll find out. The other thing is that the third rule is always keep your gun unloaded until ready to use. So what that really means is that if you're storing your firearm, you're not intending to use it for home defense. It's just in a safe anywhere. It should be unloaded. When you're going to and from the range, you should have it unloaded. If you, those are probably the big ones. If really every time you pick it up and lay it down, unless it's ready to use, it should be unloaded. And you want to build a safety habit of always safety checking your firearm every time you pick it up and set it down to make sure it's unloaded because you're not using it. Now, if you're carrying, you want it loaded because it's ready to use. You have in an advanced concealed carry class, they'll teach you that you've got about 2 seconds to put shots on target on an attacker. That's not a lot of time. You don't have time to load your firearm. Oh, hold on, Mr. Attacker. Let me just load this and rack this. Can you just wait a minute? No, you got to be able to draw and then shoot. So when you're carrying, you can carry it loaded. If you have it stored in your vehicle or in a nightstand for self-defense, or fingerprint safe, which I recommend in your nightstand, you can have it loaded because you have it prepared in case you need it to defend your home or your vehicle. So those are my top three rules. Always keep your gun pointed in a safe direction. Rule number two, always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And then rule number three, always keep your gun unloaded until ready to use. So if you follow those three, you really have to break all three in order for somebody to get hurt. But follow all three of those, and then once you've got those committed to memory, and those are part of your training, where you build those safety habits, then you can also look at you should also go ahead and look at the next 9.